when you set goals, it's for a purpose. It's where you see yourself being in life.
27 years old, when you're 35, who's holding you? No one's going to tell you off.
Nope.
Besides maybe losing your job.
Nope. You're on your own, boy.
So it's like you've got to implement these structures and these routines to kind of help you.
I've always said this to people. I hate reading so much, and that's how I know it's going to be a good year, because I've decided to start reading.
You are locked into another episode of Meg Talks, the people's platform home to queer POC millennial conversation. Big up yourself if you're locked in for the first time. We're your family, we're your team, we're your gang them, and manners and respect if you're locked in for another episode. You know, I absolutely appreciate each and every one of you, man. Thank you for rocking with me for another episode. You can find every single episode on Spotify. We're there on YouTube. We're on Instagram. But do you know what the best thing is? Go over to Meg Talks Online on Instagram. You can find my link tree and it will take you to every single platform, and you can just take me in however you want. Anyway, I am here with podcaster, influencer, Ray's in the building.
Boop, 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 boop. What go on? People don't know what I go on. Hello, hi.
What they know?
Medea. Ona said to me, yeah, I'm here.
Yes, brethren.
In the building.
Yeah, you good?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
How am I? You know what? You will know a little bit about how this week has been for me.
Ciao.
Because you was active on the socials. You sent me a couple of very reassuring, grounding messages. So
man.
podcasting, well, HR and podcasting are like my energy sources.
Yeah.
So this is like, I know when I leave here, I'm just going to feel energized. And I've been looking forward to catching up with you, man.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to it as well. It's been in the making and it's here now. So
yeah, how's your week been?
My week's been good. My week's been really good. Started to like implement some new changes into my life since the year started, and I'm really seeing the benefits that it's bringing for me. But yeah, it's been good. Been productive, been good. So
That's how
no
we like
complaints.
that's what we like to hear, man. And do you know what, peeps? I got something to tell you. I'm excited. I got something to tell you. So firstly, I wanted to shout out Pippa. Shout out, am I gonna say her name? No, I'm not gonna say her name. But shout out to Pippa's associate as well. They've invited me to look after the podcasting for their particular event. It's LGBTQia Women, and we're gonna be hosted at We Work Waterloo. In March, and they reached out in December and said like, yeah, we found your page, we like what you do, would you be interested in whatnot. So I said, okay, yeah, that's fine. They're like, it's a paid gig. I said, well, that's doubly fine. Yeah. So on Wednesday they brought me down to they on Wednesday I spoke to We Work Waterloo. I said, like, I need to see the space because I can do it, but it all hangs in the balance of what the environment looks like. Because some environments, the audio is terrible. Yeah. And it's just going to be echoing, and I'm just not going to be able to work like that. So I get there now, and shout out my guy Cedric. He's a lovely guy. So he said, oh, I've got 4 rooms for you to choose from. I said, I've got options. Well, goddamn.
Period.
Yeah, so he said, I'm going to show you the best. I'm going to show you in order of the best. So the first one, my goodness, all I can say is, brother, I felt like I'd arrived.
Or you didn't feel like you needed to see any more?
At this point,
that was the one.
No, because it was like, let's just say it's, what in terms of floors, I don't know what floor it's on, but it's got a panoramic view of central London. Nice. Floor to ceiling windows. Nice. It's got suede sofas. There's a pool table in there.
Let's give it luxury.
There's a 6 table suite with bruh, massive screen. It is delectable. So I said, okay. So and you know what's cool about the room is that it's a hidden room. So you go into their library and you push the bookcase. Yeah. And when you push the bookcase,
like in
it's
the
a
films.
door.
Oh my God.
Fam,
that's epic.
Let's kick off with the game.
Okay, let's play.
It's a race against time, baby. So we're going to do quick and fast.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't need to think about it. Just give your authentic answers, yeah? Okay, so introvert or extrovert?
Extrovert.
A long life or a full life?
Full life.
Money or influence?
Money.
Club or festival?
Woo. Club.
Dating or committed relationship?
Committed relationship.
Vacation or lads holiday?
Lads holiday.
Water or alcohol?
Water.
Beach or snow?
Beach.
All right. There we have it. There we have it. Quick and fast. Quick and fast. So you said like a lad's holiday over vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why is that?
I think because I've never really been on a vacation, so I don't really know what the experience is like. That's loading, but yeah, I've just never been on one, and I always go on holiday with like groups of friends and stuff like that, and those have always been some of my best memories. So that's why.
So you said money over influence.
Yes.
Talk me through your logic.
I just think money. The Bible says money answereth all things, even though it does also say money is the root of all evil. Yeah. But it answereth all things. Like everything in this day and age, you need money. Like you could have influence, and that influence can bring you money. But if you just have influence and you don't have money, you have no home, you have no food, you have nothing. Basically, you only have the air that we can breathe for free, because at this point, that's the only thing that's free in this life.
Right. Okay.
The air that we breathe. So that's why I say money over influence. And with that money, I could also increase my influence too.
Do you know, but you could have money and have no influence.
Yeah, you could also have that too.
How would you feel if you were in a position where you had bread and no influence?
Personally, for what I'm trying to do in life or where I'm trying to go, I think I wouldn't like that, because I feel like I'm a born star, and I want to show myself to the world and influence people in a certain way. So I would be upset about that personally. But I do think there are people in the world that are just happy to have their money, live their life, and not too concern themselves with people. So
I think like a lot of people would know you from kind of like your social media presence. So whether it be your own platform or like your own social media page or through your podcasting page. Quickly plug your podcast.
Oh yes, guys, you can check me out at Dress to Confess, okay, on TikTok, Instagram, on X as they call it now. It's at the DTC Pod, and also on YouTube, it's Dress to Confess Podcast.
So like, what is your ambitions and intentions around influencing through your podcast?
I would say my podcast is like my own little TV show. So like I've grown up watching a lot of like talk shows like Wendy Williams and other talk shows basically, and I really wanted to embody that in the way I present my podcast, because I actually want to go into like being a TV personality, presenter, host, etc. So this is like my avenue into doing that. In terms of the influence that I want to bring, we talk about fun things on my podcast. So I want to have an entertainment value, but I also want to speak about things that add value to people's lives in terms of like motivation, careers, going for your goals, mindset, and all that kind of psychology, because there's so many people in this world that just live life and don't really channel into how powerful the mind is and what it can do for you and how it can actually grant you everything that you want in life. Like people don't really know, they don't read the books, they don't listen to the personal development and all these different type of things. And I feel like I love helping people reach their goals in any way I can, whether that be a word of encouragement or if I can actually physically, tangibly help you reach your goals, then that's another passion project of mine. So that's something that I want to incorporate into the podcast, even though it is a fashion-based podcast, but there's a heavy element of like mindset and positivity behind
That's why I gravitated towards your pod, and I felt that pull, that organic pull to be like, oh, okay, let's sit down and talk and have a conversation, because it's not everybody that's on that, you know.
No,
there's a lot of people, like it's almost like a modern foreign language to many people. It's like, okay, I might be aware of the topic to a certain extent, but in terms of like really doing a deep dive and trying to embody that whole concept of my personal development journey and taking accountability and driving that forward. One, again, there's not many people that really are that interested. And secondly, it's kind of a lonely road in many ways, because 100%. It is a very inward and forward focused journey. Do you know where I'm coming from? It is, you know, trying to silence the distractions and the things that are not necessarily contributing to what it is that you need to 100%. Achieve in that respect. So I wanted to circle back on talk shows. Yeah. Because, listen, I grew up in a time where talk shows it was wild. Like, you see this whole politically correct time? Yeah. Nah, I grew up in a time where Jerry Springer was the fucking
Jerry.
What? Jerry, if you think what was going on in Jerry Springer, that was like the most egregious,
Fam.
one of the most some of the most egregious behavior that I've ever fucking
Crazy.
seen. Who else was there? There was
Maury.
the lie
You are not the
detector.
father.
That was a like Maury.
Maury was a fucking key. I'm not even gonna lie.
Do you know what? Like Maury had for me. He's got the sexy factor, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is that he's always been old.
Yeah.
Man has been old
He's a
since
silver
I was.
fox.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ciao.
Ricky Lake.
Yep.
I loved Ricky, you know.
Yeah.
And there's a channel on YouTube that shows all of the
Reruns.
Yeah. So I'm kind of plugged into Ricky right now.
Yeah.
Who there was Montel, but I never really looked into Montel.
Yeah.
I found him a bit dry, and him like Dr. Phil never really looked into them two. Who else was doing? Oh, Steve Wilkos had a spin-off.
Yep.
That was some. Do you know what I liked about? He used to bad people up. Like when they were doing like really fuck shit, he would kind of like hold them to account.
Yeah.
Because he's got that stature, like you could see he would install like the fear of God.
Yeah.
In them. And Jeremy Carl.
Yeah, Jeremy Kyle, of course.
Where the fuck did he find those people?
I don't know.
I've lived in England my whole life, and I've never once interacted with anyone that's like, where does he find these people?
Child, they find him. I'm sure they find him. They see their like-minded people on the screen, and they apply for the show and they find him.
Have you seen? Did you hear kind of like you see once he was deplatformed and the show come to an end?
Yeah.
Did you hear like the fallout of Jeremy Carl and how like wild the show was?
No, I don't think I heard the backstory behind it.
Yeah, do you know what? Check it out. Yeah, it's actually quite interesting. Now, one, Jeremy Carl has got a very fruitful background.
Yeah.
So it's like people in glass houses should not throw stones.
Yeah.
And he had an active gambling addiction whilst running the show.
Oh,
so I'm
okay.
like, you're out here shading people and making them feel like the worst of worst, whilst
'Cause
you're going through your own struggles. So there was an opportunity where he could have really come from a space of compassion. You know, when you've been through some stuff of your own, and it's like, you know what, I can understand your plight of struggle and try and coach them a little bit, or try and but he will just make you feel like
terrible about yourself.
Yeah. Like you're the absolute worst.
Yeah.
Also, there were a lot of the show kind of preyed on the vulnerable.
Yeah.
So these people weren't necessarily the most intelligent.
Yeah.
Or what other words could I use?
They just weren't put together.
Yeah,
really.
they're kind of vulnerable
Yeah.
in some respects. You know where I'm coming from, and he's kind of play on that because he could never have us on the show and then be carrying on with that foolishness.
No, I'll slap him.
Did you see where one person dashed the card after him? Like, and they switched him, and I realized at that point Jeremy Carl was a pom pom.
Yeah.
Because he ran behind security. I said, "You've got all of this chest in your tight suit."
Yeah.
But
it's all talk, man. No action.
So that there was a whole thing, and there was like people that I think a couple of people committed suicide, and it was really bad. Like even like the aftercare. So like the Jeremy Carl show, even though it was like highly entertaining, it definitely had some dark shadows casted after it. And it was Trisha Goddard as well.
Okay, yeah.
Trisha,
true.
she's gone to America and become a host over there. I think she's kind of bust case a little bit out there now.
Well, when you enter the American market, if they gravitate towards you, that's you.
You're good for life,
That's
like
you.
Gina Yashere.
Yeah, that's you.
But yeah, no. I just wanted to kind of like a recap on some of those shows, man, because I don't know. Do we even have talk shows in the UK right now? I can't think of. There may be. I just
Not
can't
really.
Think of them.
No, not that I can think of. Not people that look like us, anyway, or people in our community. I can't really.
Do you know what it is? It's like do you know what it is now? It's kind of different, but like Loose Women.
I never used to watch that, you know.
I feel like you see them kind of panel discussion shows have maybe replaced that kind of idea of what a talk show is in that respect. But you see Wendy Williams, I've never really, I don't know too much about her. Like who I know she started off on radio.
Yeah.
And I know she said that Diddy was gay, that he mashed up her thing, and then she had to go to like Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I went on to like a different radio, and then she's gone on to TV. But I don't actually know.
To be honest, I didn't even know her in her radio days. I just kind of knew her because my best friend used to watch her quite a lot around like uni times. So that was like what, 6-7 years ago, 8 years ago, no, 10 years ago now. Started uni. Wow. But I liked what she did, even though I might not have liked how messy she was. I liked what she did. I liked how she kept people's attentions. I liked how real she was. And those are some of the things that I want to instill in my vision for where I see my stuff going as well.
Well, good luck, man.
Thank you so
Good luck.
much,
You know, I'm here to
child.
support. You
Oh,
know.
thank you.
But let me ask you, man. But how has maybe like week 3 of January or something like
Yeah.
that? How's the year kicked off for you?
Really, really well. Really, really well. I think I have a really good feeling about this year. I've started a new morning routine. My word for the year is discipline. Discipline, 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 discipline. That is the word for me this year. And as long as I keep reminding myself of that, I feel like I'm going to have a really good year. But yeah, I've started a new morning routine. So now in the morning, I always pray anyway, but like I'm really disciplined in like planning my day ahead, reading over my short-term goals, reading over my long-term goals, saying my mission statements and my affirmations, and just things that will bring positive energy into the world. When I wake up, I'm not just reaching straight for my phone anymore. I'm actually taking that time to meditate and be with myself. And I've always said this to people, I hate reading so much, and that's how I know it's going to be a good year, because I've decided to start reading. So right now I'm reading a book called Think and Grow Rich, which is an amazing, amazing book. I definitely recommend it for you guys if you haven't. It kind of talks about how you can use the mind to turn your ideas into basically money and like come about riches in abundance through using the mind, through desire, faith.
Napoleon Hill.
Yeah. Napoleon Hill. So that book, I'm really, really into it right now, and I want to continue on that throughout the year, just reading like PD books and stuff like that. But yeah, it's really just made me feel good. I've started going back to the gym after 4 years. Ciao. I haven't been to the gym since COVID. And yeah, I'm starting to go 3 times a week. So that fitness, eating healthier, drinking lots of water. You can see the skin is skinning. Period. So it's all working in my favor, you know. So
like, what prompted this? Because like you said, there's been a revolution of kind of lifestyle in some way. What triggered that?
I'm just tired of complaining and like saying that I want to be somewhere and then actually not doing the things that I need to do to be there. Like you can't want to be someone and you're not behaving like you are that person already.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So I need to behave like the person that I see myself being, and then everything should fall into place or fall into line.
So it's like that misalignment of behavior and intention, and it's bringing that so it's a bit more congruent.
Yeah.
Because there's one thing that I want to say about being a person of your word. Like, I know we're taught that you should do what you say from a moral standpoint. Right?
Yeah.
But I think it's far deeper than that, in that you see, if you do what you say you're going to do, actually that's the route to building confidence.
Yeah.
Because the root of confidence is knowing that you can rely on yourself.
Yeah.
And knowing that you're able to manifest ideas in terms of conjure those things up in your mind, but also bring those things to life.
Yep.
You know, and bring those resources to you to kind of, again, bring those ideas and those concepts to life. And so it's like the idea of making your bed. So I did a bit of deep diving into that, why it's important to make your bed in the morning. And the essence of it is, it's the first opportunity that you've given yourself to achieve something.
Yeah.
Right? And if you stick with that, if you kind of use each completion of the task as momentum, actually you start sticking to the plan is much easier.
Yeah.
So it's like, let's just say in the morning you got the opportunity to make your bed, but you don't make your bed. Now, when it's time to have a healthy breakfast, you're more likely not to do it because you've already let yourself off the hook for making the bed.
100%.
Then when it's time to go to the gym at lunchtime, or go for that walk, or if you're going to go and walk the dog or do 10 push-ups, whatever it might be, now you're less likely to do it because you've already let yourself off the hook. So it's easy to say, I'm not doing that, because you've already started that pattern. But
100%.
when you're like, no, I'm going to do it, and you start to rack up those accolades throughout the day, letting yourself down is like, you know what? I might as well just stick with the program. You got more incentive or more motivation because of the wins that you've conjured up throughout the day.
Yeah.
So it is, I think, being a person of your word and sticking to it isn't just about that moral thing. It actually builds momentum and that energy source, and that inner determination to actually continue to push forward with what you need to do throughout that day.
100%. I totally agree. I think that's definitely one of the things that is actually in my morning routine, is to make my bed. Because some days, like, I would just not make my. And when you make your bed, it forces you to get up. Do you know what I mean? It forces you to get up. It
You're
forces
up
you to be productive. It forces you to do something, because once you make the bed, you won't want to get in it and mess it up again.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So if you don't make your bed and you see it untidy, you might just have that inclination to go back and just lay down and cover up and
cozy.
do and exactly and do nothing. So I totally agree. I think what you just said about making the bed it's a very, 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 very important point.
Do you believe in New Year's resolutions? And I'm gonna caveat this with saying that I don't believe in them.
Yeah.
I don't believe in them. I think how I used to approach things was, firstly, I think about goals and intentions.
Mm-hmm.
New Year's resolutions for me, I found that I was tripping myself up because I was set them, but then do you know what? I haven't implemented the mechanisms to make me consistent. So I'll just forget that I've even got these resolutions, and then by April, not a single thing has been achieved. Then I'm like, oh, do you know where I'm coming from? And then by August, I forgot that I've even set them. Yeah. So I had to kind of develop some kind of personal system for me to keep me in contact with my goals. And I didn't like the idea that, I think part of the idea is in January the 1st, I'm going to be this new person. Yeah. It just doesn't work.
No, it doesn't.
Like that. No change works like that.
No.
There's no such thing as an overnight change or overnight success.
It's gradual.
So what I used to do is press reset the 1st of September. Yeah. So I used to start setting my goals kind of like in accordance with the academic year. Yeah. Because I associate that with growth. Yeah. And also I like the fact that
that's interesting.
The academic year ends before summer. So you can do a lot of work, and then by the time summer comes, you can have that summer off. Yeah, and enjoy. But when you start in January, to take the summer off is like halfway through the year. Yeah. And then it's quite hard to take a break in August, like July, August, and then get back into it again in like September, October for what you're continuing. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I found that system really hard. So I used to start in September, and it always gave me a few months ahead of everybody else that's starting in January. Yeah. Which that I like. Sense.
That's actually a really good approach. I've never heard anyone say that, but logically it makes sense.
And imagine like by the time January's come, you've already got months of momentum behind you. So you're not planning, you're just continuing what you need to be doing.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so like, what's your perception on kind of resolutions and stuff? And what's your approach?
So I used to write my New Year's resolutions every year, just like everybody else did. And then just reflecting at the end of last year, I just realized that I would write them, and as you said, like months would go past, either I wouldn't be hitting them and I'd be a bit demotivated and just wouldn't carry on, or I just forgot about them. And that's why I agree with you in saying that I believe more in goals and intentions, because when you set goals, it's for a purpose. It's where you see yourself being in life. They have more meaning behind them than a New Year's resolution does. And you always can like put your goals up like around you and just constantly remind yourself of them. And behind your goal is usually a why. Yeah. And when you have a why, that driving force is what keeps you going even when times get tough. So that's why I believe more in goals and intentions than New Year's resolutions. I think New Year's resolutions are just flaky. I think New Year's resolutions or goals are similar in the sense that you are setting yourself something to achieve. But I think, as I said, goals have a deeper meaning, and that deeper meaning is what is going to help you actually achieve them. So yeah, that my approach now is I don't set New Year's resolutions, I set goals. And goal setting is the habit of every successful person out there. You know, there's no successful person out there that doesn't set themselves goals and smash those goals and keep setting bigger goals. So that's what I intend to do moving forward. Just have my goals in front of me, long term, short term, in all different areas of life as well. You were briefly saying before we came on that, you know, people just usually focus on like career and finance goals, but there's actually other things, friends, family, health, personal development. There's so many other areas where you can set goals as well, spiritual, relationships. So just being able to plot those out and the actions that you're going to do to do those things, it's all about habits, right? Your habits are what are going to help you to achieve your goals. Once you instill those habits, because as you said, it's not an overnight thing, it's a gradual thing, and habits are those gradual things that will help you to achieve your short-term goals and your long-term goals. So once you instill those habits, which is why I've got my morning routine now, that's what's gonna change you to the person that you need to be to take you to the next level to achieve your goals. So yeah, goals over New Year's resolutions.
I think do you know what? Like as you were talking, I just had the moment, the light bulb moment. New Year's resolutions for many of us that like kind of struggle with it is that they're not based upon sustainability. There's not a sustainable framework. So like you said, with goals, they're laced in intention, and they have to be timelined. There's going to be like measurements that will help you recognize how far or close you are to achieving that goal. With New Year's resolution, sometimes it's focused for the year, but goals, your annual goals are tend to be feeding into your bigger aspirations. So it's like let's say, for argument's sake, you wanted to become the head of finance. I'm just kind of throwing it out there. Now, if you work backwards, there are several professional steps that you're going to need to take in order to achieve that. But then if you take a laid approach, there's several personal development steps that you're going to have to take. So have you got the ability to influence across seniority levels? Have you got the ability to present and create presentations? Have you got the ability to public speak? Have you got the ability to speak in front of senior people in a way where you don't feel the pressure as much and you can flex and be charismatic? Can you handle
stress?
Can you manage conflicting priorities?
Exactly.
So there's the professional level, then there's the personal development level, then it's what is it that's going to sustain you throughout your commitments to those things. So then you talk about health, then you talk about spiritual, then you talk about relationships, as you said. So that's how, for me, those different tiers start to emerge. But those things cannot happen within a year. So when you've kind of you take a step back and you've got a bigger picture now, that's when you start to realize that actually taking this annual focus, and maybe my New Year's resolutions are not connecting from year to year. It's like it's a bit sporadic. So you're not seeing progress. So you know that concept of a jack of all trades. Even though it may not necessarily be specific to that concept, but it's like doing lots of things in lots of different directions doesn't always take you forward.
No.
You know, I'm coming from. So that I just realized that there's not that sustainable framework attached to that.
I agree.
And sometimes that's how quick a decision or a change can be. You just set your intention, say that's what it is. And now what I have to do to make sure that is, I have to set my alarm clock every day for 6:45. Or it's not going to happen.
That's what I did.
So you have to implement a physical change that's going to make you physically change the behavior.
And it's going to be hard. Don't ever be fooled. Like if you're used to waking up at a certain time, remember your body is a creature of habit. So if you're used to waking up at like 9 and just rolling out of bed and just getting on your laptop, it's going to be tough for you to wake up at 6-7 o'clock in the morning at first.
Out here looking like Uncle Ruckus and shit.
Of course, but that's the part where discipline comes in.
Yes.
And that's the part where you changing and becoming a different and new person becomes a thing. You're going to struggle, but you have to dig deep and find it within you to be able to do it. And then it'll get easier.
I've got a question. What do you think it is that... What do you think it is? Why do you think that people struggle with discipline?
Because it's not in human nature to be disciplined. It's in human nature to do what the body wants to do. Right. Do you know what I mean? It's not in human nature to go against the grain and do hard things. People enjoy easy things. People enjoy enjoyable things. Those are things that are separate from discipline. You know, discipline is for stressful things, things that are actually worth doing, that will actually bring you to somewhere that's worth it. But humans in general, we just like, especially this day and age, child, maybe our parents' generation, our grandparents' generation, they had more discipline themselves because they were fighting for something. But with us, with everything that's laid on our doorstep, technology, etc., social media, everything's just become, I need to make things as easy for myself as possible. And like
that convenience.
Yeah, exactly. And people preach it all the time. They're like, make sure you look after your mental health, and make sure you do this, and make sure you do that. But they never preach but you need to be able to handle stress to be in a certain position in life. Like if you want to be like rich, or if you want to be successful, it's gonna come with stress. So it's good to focus on your mental health, don't get me wrong, because without it, obviously you won't be able to do much.
Success,
do you know what I mean? But it's also good to put yourself in uncomfortable situations and positions, because that will help you grow as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing that discipline can do. But yeah, humans just in general aren't disciplined by nature.
Yeah, that I was just like kind of processing and trying to like work out what's my perception on it, how do I see it, and I think, especially now, if I look at this kind of like the 21st century, where we would take the people are inclined to take the path of least resistance. But I think, and it's not, I'm not shading anyone because I understand. Do you know what I'm saying? Life is hard.
Life is hard.
Do you know what I'm saying? Life is hard. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of conflicting priorities. There's a lot of people biting for your attention.
Yeah.
So it is difficult. And life, if you look back to how many years ago, is it harder? I wouldn't say so, but it's probably different. And the stresses that we're up against aren't akin to human nature. So, like, for example, technology, social media, having a more at-home, solitary life. We're not built for that. Where we derive from cavemen. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? We're supposed to be out here living life.
Yeah, hunting.
Yeah, do you know what I'm saying? Like we're and we thrive on that, but we've been so far removed from what our human nature and our human instincts have been indoctrinated and pacified so much that we're domesticated. Yeah. And it's like a domesticated cat versus a cat out in the wild. You know, a cat out in the wild is probably a more happier cat. Yeah. Even though the cat at home is getting belly rubs and it's happy, but there's something missing. Yeah. You know, so I think that there's a part of that. I think comfort, the idea of comfort. Now, you might remember I dropped a little something on your page. Now, understand that life will be painful. Yeah. Life will bring joy. It will be happy. Life brings connectivity. It brings motivation, all of these things, but also life brings challenge. Yeah. And affliction is there to grow you, because we don't grow in the niceness. No. When it's nice and stuff, we're comfortable, you know, the car, kiki, we're not. But you see, in those hard times, you gotta dig deep. Exactly. You gotta dig to the root of your fucking ass to lift yourself up off the ground and say, listen, we gotta, you know, and that's that affliction is like the Olympic training for life. So with that, you've got two options really. You pick the pain of discipline or the pain of disappointment. Exactly. That really is when you kind of narrow it down how it kind of works. And I will pick the pain of discipline because a disciplined life brings more fruits. It does. And that's 100%. Where you build your confidence. That's where you get your self-esteem, knowing that I was supposed to go and do this and I let my nephew down. I was meant to meet my mate and I didn't do that. I didn't show up for my mom. I'm behind on this payment and stuff. That wears your self-esteem and your self-perception down so much, because it's like I'm all of the things that I don't want to be, and I'm disappointed in myself. But when you're living in a space of actually, okay, I'm going to be disciplined, I'm going to be consistent. Yep. That doesn't mean you always get it right, but it means that your intentions are pure. Exactly. And you're holding yourself to a higher standard of just letting yourself off the hook. Yep. And as an adult, really, who's letting you off the hook? As a kid, your parents, your teachers are onto you. Maybe sometimes some of your friends might be onto you. Oh, you know, you can't do that. Mummy's gonna. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But when you're 27 years old, when you're 35, who's holding you? No one's gonna tell you off. Nope. Besides maybe losing your job. Nope. You're on your own, boy. So it's like you've got to implement these structures and these routines to kind of help you cope. And it sometimes it isn't as fun as the people that are living completely free. Yeah. But let me tell you something. You see, when you're living what's it called? Fancy free and footloose. It looks lit, but trust me, a lot of those people are not happy. Look at celebrities. Yeah, that's true. Bruh, they've got all the money in the world. A lot of them got the cocaine up to the hills. Yeah, they've got the gal, they've got the man, they've got the clothes, and then on top of that now, how many celebrities have ended their life early, or you find them, they have to go to rehab, and then they've got look at the Amy Winehouse scenario. The mental's messed up. Finished. Done. And it's like they didn't have that discipline. So understand, you see, when you want to be successful really, really early, watch out now, because sometimes that can bite you in the arse, because you can have more success than maturity. Yeah. And more success than you, because sometimes the discipline comes from the maturity as well. They go hand in hand. And if you ain't got both of them together, bruh. That's why I believe in God's timing, because God's timing is the best timing, because he will give it to you when you're ready to handle it, when you're that person that is able to take on
those riches or that success or whatever. So that's why sometimes we complain about like, oh, why is it not happening now? I really want to do this now and it's not happening for me. It's because you're not ready for it yet, you know. And then when you are ready for it and you work towards it, it will come. And then once you get there, you are now that person that can sustain it and grow it even further. So that's something I've had to really teach myself and just learn to be patient, wait, and just know that not everything's about instant gratification, which our generation is so centered around. Everybody wants that instant gratification immediately. Everybody wants to hit that 6 figures. Everyone wants to just have their goals come quick and fast and just achieve them straight away. That's not how life works. So teach yourself that patience of, okay, when it's my time, it's my time. And don't jealous and grudge nobody, okay? Because when it's your time, it's your time. If it's someone else's time, let them enjoy it and let them sit in it and rest in it.
And observe that. I'm like, okay, cool. And be curious. Like, how did that be a student of life and be a student of the winners and understand everybody has their season. There's no such thing as a free lunch.
Exactly.
And when you see someone winning in their season, understand that they put the groundwork in somewhere. They did, whether you saw it or not, whether anyone saw it, they did that somewhere. And you don't really know how long it took for that to happen.
Yep.
So like you're talking about immediate gratification, and the opposite of that is delayed gratification. Now that's also the discipline of knowing like so say now your scenario, maybe you're working in retail or you're working in a job that really doesn't reflect where you want to be. Understand, don't feel discouraged or sad about it, or look at the scenario like I'm failing. No, this is delayed gratification, because you know what, you're sticking to your guns and doing what you need to do in order to get to where you need to be.
100%.
Do you know what I'm saying? And that delayed gratification brings more fruits. Listen, I can't lie to you. I can't lie to you. I was in a job here where I was working in Chiswick, big corporate job, big. If you know about Chiswick Business Park, you will know what I'm talking about. If not, quickly go and Google it. I left my house from South East London to go and do this job 40 hours a week amongst all of these people that are bringing home 6 figures. And I'm getting 12k a year. And on top of that, I'm doing zone 1 to 5.
Hey, in this London economy.
And I'm going to work in the snow, and I'm not even exaggerating. I'm going to work in the snow, and the manager's so savage that you can't even be late. And I can barely afford lunch in these rich people lands. And I'm here with my packed lunch, and everyone's going to lunch, and I'm sitting there in the fucking nice office with my little Tupperware on foil, you know. And I all of those things could have made me feel like nobody, like I'm not getting nowhere in this life. But I understood that I had to hold certain things. I've got to fill those positions.
Yeah.
I've got to secure the basics, because like you said, now, are you ready?
Yeah.
And you can only see your integrity and your loyalty to yourself and your journey only when you're in those scenarios where it's like, even when I'm not getting shit, I'm giving 150% and I'm not getting shit. I'm getting disrespected by these managers. I'm getting disrespected by every motherfucker in here. I might be the only black person in here, and they're looking at me like some joke, man. But I was loyal. I never gave them half-hearted nothing, even though they're giving me a half-cut paycheck.
Yeah.
And it's there's something in that, you know.
Yeah.
And you see, you were talking about don't begrudge no one and don't look at anyone sideways. Now, you see, when you want to be just in life, this could be socially with your family, with your friends, how you interact with people and your intentions and how you treat people is so important.
Very.
Because let me tell you something, whether you want to call it cosmic karma or whatever, right? It comes around, you know.
Yep.
Now, there's been times when I've had people at work trying to sabotage me. I mean, fully sabotage the work that I'm doing. In corporate, it's like that. I've had managers. I had a manager disrespect my mum in front of me. Oh my God.
Choked his blood.
She nearly dragged me up out of my body. I nearly stepped out of my body on this woman, yeah.
I would have lost my job.
And the thing is, bearing in mind, I was like 21, 22. This is my first corporate job. I'm working in recruitment. And this is happening a matter of meters away from me, because my mum worked for the recruitment agency that I was working in. Yeah. Right. Oh my God. I can't tell you. And I held it, you know. I held it because I knew. I said, listen, if I get a part of myself right now, it's a wrap.
Yeah. 100.
And my mum had just been made redundant in that recession. We was about to lose our house.
Yeah.
I took this job. I was in my 3rd year of uni, and I'm doing this job full time, 3rd year of uni, and I'm working in Ross Clark Matterland doing 8 hours a week. I'm trying to, and I know that little money ain't saving the yard, you know, but I'm trying. And bearing in mind, we never lost the house by the end of it. But my mum was working for Shell in their UK office via the agency. Yeah. And I could hear this woman disrespecting my mum, and I'm thinking, oh my God, and I'm shaking. You know when you're hot. I'm red hot, bro. I'm red hot.
Steaming.
Yeah, hot as a fucking you know the hot comb that you use to pressure. Yeah. But I said I can't lose it because I'm here for my mum. I'm doing this it's deeper than this. Mm-hmm. And you see when you learn to hold it, and you see when you learn to be the bigger person in life, even when your friend's doing a fuckery to you, even when someone might be double crossing you. And people would say, well, why shouldn't I? I've got don't stand on your righteous indignation, you know? You see, like, when you show that you're ready, like you said you're ready, it's about your character too.
100%.
Do you understand that when you're in a position of power, are you going to be humble with it? Are you going to do the right thing? Or are you going to be that one that's going to be like, carry it, like you see Wolf on Wall Street?
Yeah.
Are you going to carry on like him, or are you going to be a good leader and lead from behind?
Yeah.
You don't have to be the face. All of this stuff will determine your trajectory, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
You know? Mm-hmm. So, like, tell me a little bit about your background in corporate, because I know you kind of touched on it on your pod.
Yeah. So, where do I start with it? Okay, so I'll run you through my journey of how I even decided to become what I decided to become. So, in school, I was super, obviously this is like secondary school, so I was super young, super creative, and obviously I like doing fun things, so I wanted to actually pick like dance, drama, music for my GCSEs. My mother said absolutely not. She said absolutely not. I have a Jamaican mother, she's a teacher, she's been a teacher her whole life, and
your
she
mum's
was
a
like
spooky Jamaican.
yeah, she's a teacher, she's a pastor, so you know, she's very much, my mum is as extroverted as I am. Like, I get my personality from my mum. So she was just like, no, absolutely not. And my mum's always going to say what's on her mind, child. She'll never hold back. So she was like, okay, I'll give you one of them. So I got to do drama, but she was like, the other two that you do, because we had to make 3 selects, they need to be like more serious subjects. I was like, okay, cool. Because at this point, I'm super young. I'm like, what, 15, picking my GCSE. I don't know what I want to do yet. I just knew I hated science. I hated it, so I knew I definitely do want to go into anything in scientific. And English, as I mentioned earlier, I hated reading and stuff like that. So even though I did well with those subjects, I just didn't really enjoy them. So the only thing left really was like, what am I good at? Okay, I'm good at maths. Okay, and then my mum was like, pick business. So I picked business, and I actually picked sociology as well, which was just off the radar, but you know what I mean. So then I did those at GCSE, and then when it came to picking A-levels, I went to a grammar school for my A-levels. I went to a grammar school sixth form, and they were like, my mum was like, okay, well, what about being an accountant? And I was like, okay, well, that makes sense because it's mixing business and maths, right? 2 of the things I actually like to do. So and this is how I know God works in mysterious ways, because my area where I'm from, in Bexley, well, where I used to live, my grammar school that I went to is one of like 6 grammar schools or schools in general in the entire UK that actually does accounting as an A-level. So for me to be in that position where I was able to actually use that to see if I actually liked it or wanted to do it, that was just perfect alignment for me. So I did accounting, maths, business and economics at A-levels. I did well in those. And during that, we'll get onto the health situation, but that was a whole escapade during my A-levels. And then moved on, went to uni, studied at Loughborough Uni, big up Loughborough, you know the motherfucking vibe. I had a great time, and yeah, I studied accounting and financial management in uni with a placement year inside of it. So during that placement year, I worked for one of the top 10 accounting firms. And I was able to secure a permanent role from that placement year. And I started my accountant qualification then as well. Finished uni, went into work, corporate work. Child, when I tell you that experience, you lot, if you think A-levels is hard, if you think a degree was hard, try working full time in a top 10 firm in audit, which is the hardest service line.
Ooh. Nobody loves to
qualify.
audit, you know?
Child, where you work 12-hour days and then you have the hardest exams of your life to do at the same time, and you're doing them 3 at a time, while saying that your job is on the line. Because if you fail once, they pay for your qualification. That's how the grad scheme works. They pay for your qualification, but they pay for the first sitting of your exam. So they pay for all your courses, all your study materials, etc. They pay for your first sitting. If you fail that, now you have to pay for your second sitting, and these exams are not cheap, by the way. And if you fail that, you lose your job. So having that pressure of, okay, I'm working 12 hours a day, I'm coming home to revise for another 3 hours every day, then knowing that in the back of my mind, if I don't pass this exam, I'm going to lose my job, my livelihood, my money. It's an experience that I literally, unless you go through it, I cannot like tell you how mad it actually is. But yeah, so I started in audit, as I said, went up to assistant manager level, did that for 3-4 years, and then I left audit. Thank you, Jesus, for saving me. And I actually went an unconventional route. I became a contractor straight away, which is not something that people usually do. Usually people would like move from practice into industry, practice being like accounting firms, industry being like your regular company, like your Coca-Colas, your just any company really outside of practice. So people would usually go into that and follow the route into that. But because I had other things and other passions, like my influencing and stuff like that, content creation, I needed something that was a bit more flexible for me. So I actually ended up going as a contractor, which was one of the best moves that I've ever done, because child, the money is sweet. The money is sweet. I can't lie. That money is amazing, because you can make a person's 1 year salary in 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it gave me that time to be able to work for a certain period of time, have that money, and then be able to take time off to focus on other things and travel and all these different type of things. Like people are always like, oh, you're like, I only see you working for some of the year, and then like you're off on this holiday for a month, and then you're off doing this for whatever time. And it's like, yeah, that's the flexibility that contracting gives you. You know what I mean? So yeah, my corporate journey's been interesting. I don't really want to do it full time, but I kind of have to at the moment, because of, you know, financials and money and stuff like that. I'm bringing money in, but hopefully when my creative stuff takes flight, I won't have to resort back to it.
So on a creative tip, what is it that you're hoping? What are your aspirations?
Creatively, I want to be the best, biggest presenter and host in the UK. I want to be a TV personality, and I want to have my own TV show, really, which is where the podcast is leading to. So creatively, that's where my goals and ambitions lie. I still want to carry on the fashion content creator stuff because I enjoy it and I think it's fun. But I want to make money through using my personality. And that's the biggest goal for me, and have that influence, as you mentioned earlier. So yeah, that's where I see myself going, really. Hosting Mobos, hosting red carpets, BT Awards, anything you could think of, Grammys, Emmys, whatever. I just want to be that person that when they think, oh, who do we want to host this? It's Ray.
So for the end of the year, where if you could hang your hat on any kind of goal or achievement, what is it that you would like to end the year 2024 and say, yeah, this is what I've done and I'm proud that I've done that?
I'd probably say, are you in any respect or just in the creative?
You can go across the board. And it may be several.
Yeah, child, I have them in all all different types of categories. But I want to move out. That's one of the goals that I want to have done by the end of this year. I don't mind whether it's rent, buy, whichever. I want to move out, be on my own 2 feet. So that's one. I want to grow my following on personally and for the podcast. I'm going to push it and say 50K for each. So that's in that creative space. And then financially, I want to be sitting in multiple 6 figures in my bank account. In Jesus' name, I claim it. Hallelujah. Amen, somebody.
Somebody
say amen. And then, yeah, I just want to have a closer bond with my friends and my family, be a more selfless person, and just mindset, have a completely different mindset to what I had last year, and just become a new level of me. So those are some of my main goals.
What if you could pick one habit that you have to ditch from last year to this year?
Yeah.
And it may be that you've started to move away from it, but what habit can't come back from last year that you think would be detrimental to achieving that range of goals that you have?
A laziness.
What does laziness mean?
Laziness as in not doing the things that I know I should be doing. So like planning ahead is a big thing when you're in the creative space, and you know you have to like batch shoot content and all these different type of things, instead of like doing it on the go where it becomes like really messy, not thought of. It has to be intentional. So laziness as in just not doing things that, to be fair, I am a person that when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. But laziness as in like just, I don't know, just not be focused on my goals and doing the actions that I need to achieve those things. Just
That
stop being
distracted mindset.
complacent, basically.
Yeah.
Stop
I hear you.
procrastinating, stop being complacent. Those things are not coming with me into this year.
See it there. Do you know what this energy is? This conversation has reminded me of why I started. And this sometimes, you know, when you progress to a certain point in your career and it's going very well, it can be actually really depressing.
Yeah.
I hit a depression when I reached my life goal because
That's crazy.
I lost my purpose. I said, what am I doing? What am I fighting for now? What next? What next?
Yeah, what next? Big
How
question.
do I? And the thing is, like, in how you scale up and stuff, I didn't want that. Because as we were talking about corporate, I'm not prepared to. As I said in my interview with Buxy,
Yeah.
I'm not a submissive person, so I'm not a person that you can dictate how I'm gonna behave and what I'm gonna do and how I'm gonna do it for the gain of you.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. You gotta give me the space to cook. And in a lot of corporate settings, it's not that they it's like a puppet master type flex, and
hate it.
I just can't be that puppet. So it can be quite hard. So it's just recognizing sometimes when you get there, you kind of got to figure it out again. Back to phase one.
Yeah.
In many ways, and that can be really demotivating, but actually it's a positive thing.
Yeah.
And recognizing that. But before we even wrap, I just wanted to kind of just leave you with a wise word. So if you've got a wise word that you want to share, just to kind of touch the hearts and the motivation of the people, go ahead. But I just want to what I want to say to you is, you've got it in you. You've got it in you. You've got to just silence the noise and silence the distractions around you to hear your inner voice. Do you know where I'm coming from? And once you hear that voice, let that voice be the voice of reason. Let that be the voice of discipline and keeping you grounded. Like, fuck what everyone else is saying.
Literally.
Fuck it. Even if what they are saying is positive, fuck it, because you know, at the bottom line of it, we see when you got to go into that board meeting, you've got to go and do that public speaking, you've got to go and do whatever it is. You know what? 5 minutes before, you're with yourself. So you got to be able to kind of lock in and get yourself in a space where you're prepared and you're feeling comfortable and you're good to go. It's not about what anyone else is, how they're going to influence you.
Yeah.
So and also in terms of motivational personal development, Patrick Bet-David has been a real influence for me.
Yeah.
Who else? Jim Rohn, Elle Nightingale, really gave me some food for thought.
Some great names.
I'm trying to think.
Eric Thomas.
Oh my
Les
God.
Brown.
Oh my
Steve
God.
Harvey.
He says if you fall, make sure you fall on your back so when you look up you can get up.
Okay, period.
That was Les Brown.
Yeah, Les Brown, amazing.
Eric, he's the guy. He's kind of
Yeah, he's very aggressive.
he don't give a
Aggressive
fuck.
style, but
yeah.
sometimes you need that.
Sometimes you need to be told off.
Yep. Sometimes you need that.
Who else for you? Is there anyone else?
Those are kind of the ones that you've listed. Basically, everybody that I listen to.
Oh,
to be
do you
fair.
know what? Stephen Bartlett. Stephen Bartlett takes a very different approach, but he can be
That's
very
the very successful businessman, isn't it?
Yeah. He's got the Diary of a CEO podcast as well.
Yeah. My friend told me to listen to that, so I'm definitely going to be tuning into that.
But yeah, any final thoughts?
Guys, please listen to me and listen to me well. My mic is on. You can do anything you put your mind to.
Wow.
You are your only limitation in life. Your mind is the most powerful thing you hold, okay? Your ideas, persistence, faith, self-belief, and hard work are what are going to get you to where you need to get to. And I'm telling you now, don't let anybody ever look you in your eye and tell you you can't do something, because you can do it. I don't care what your situation is. I don't care how much you're going through. You need to find within you that power, because we all have power within us, okay? We're not just humans, we're also spiritual beings. You need to find that power within you to find the grasp, reach down, reach down deep and come out of whatever situation you're in. I just know that there is light at the end of the tunnel. You can do whatever you put your mind to, and that's a fact.
And the church says amen.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Shandala.
That's a beautiful way to close. It really is. And if I remember, I'm going to try and put the names in the description and the captions so people can plug in and stuff. And to be honest with you, if you ever want to just DM me and have a little chat about personal development, trust me, I'm happy to put the time in. And the people that have been following me know, they know that I'm down for the chat. I'm down, especially when it's productive and it's feeding into the right thing. Shout me anytime.
And me too.
But plug your socials where the people can find you and your podcast.
Okay, so you can find me personally at Ray Styles, REYSTYLESS, on most social media platforms. And you can find my podcast, Dressed to Confess, on YouTube, X, TikTok, Instagram, Spotify as well. Trying to get onto Apple Music, don't know how to do it. I'm doing this all myself, child, so I'm trying to figure it out as I go along. But yeah, Dressed to Confess.
Perfect. And you know where to find me. Meg Talks Online on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. But like I said, just go over to my Instagram, hit the link in the bio, and it will take you to all of the destinations where you can find me. And yeah, that's it, man. I'll speak to you guys next time. Bless up.
Period. Bye, y'all.